What do you guys
Uh,
think?
I didn't like it, man. I was bored to
I
fucking
noticed.
tears with this movie. It was a bit of a frustrating watch for me. I don't usually gravitate to Wes Anderson's shtick. He's got a style. He's got um, like a kind of trademark look and flow to what he kind of does. I feel like the style and the substance of this movie were all the way up, but they never molded. They never kind of like gelled.
Yeah.
And because of the I don't know, the sort of characters that he writes, I just didn't wasn't feeling it that much. How about you,
Yeah.
Oz?
It's not for
Um,
me. I don't know. This movie is not for me. Like I don't get that type of humor. We understand what he's trying to say, or what we think he's trying to say. Um, but yeah, it just for me, it just doesn't hit. I fell asleep in the movie, and then I saw you like sit all the way forward because I knew you were trying to concentrate, and it's just like didn't work.
Ah,
Yeah, yeah, it wasn't for me. This movie. I don't know. There's probably scores of people out there that's gonna love this movie, but not
yeah.
me.
yeah. For me, like, I think all the emotions they were trying to invoke with this movie just felt kind of flat.
Mm.
Um, and the style of direction that Wes Anderson had for this, where it was a play that was a movie that's about a play, like it was just too many moving fucking parts. And it
Yeah.
annoyed me because it's a powerhouse of like cast in this movie as well, and
Usually
none of
is.
them really got used to their full potential, and they were all very just like secondhand, just actors on screen. Like, not to say their performance was shitty, but there just wasn't enough screen time with everyone that you got to really feel it. And
And
some of
Yeah.
the yeah,
they were all acting very weird.
yeah,
Hmm.
Mm.
like they were trying
Yeah.
to act it like a play as well. And like I get it, like maybe that's how like the script is meant to be. But
Hmm.
then as well as that, when it came to, well, what's this movie about? I think everyone's going to have different opinions on that too.
Yeah.
And that's like there's no like top of the pyramid type thing where you can sort of divulge from that to have your other opinions. So I
Yeah.
think
I
that's what
haven't
was tough.
I haven't like sort of dived into what it actually meant. Like I haven't looked into like the Wes Anderson explains Asteroid City. You looked into articles from like Vulture or Complex or whatnot that explain the ending of Asteroid City or anything like that. It's only my interpretation of the movie that
Mm.
I'm sort of bringing because I don't know. I was trying to concentrate, but there's like this matter of fact way, like you were saying, the way that the actors were giving lines,
Yeah,
it was matter of fact. It was almost like you hire actors not to do their own style of something, but to do a Wes Anderson style.
yeah, yeah. I found that as well. I found that everyone had they were delivering the lines exactly the way that somebody else would.
Yeah,
Like all the delivery was exactly the same.
yeah,
Yeah.
Did it? Did it? Did it? Did it? Did it? Did it? That was the what's this place the flow of the conversation.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, which works in some some sort of conceits or concepts.
Yeah,
Like it works in terms of Fantastic Mr. Fox. It works in terms of Grand Budapest Hotel, but it didn't flow in this because
Yeah.
we had people playing dual roles with the
yeah,
play
Mm.
going on and then flowing onto the character. There wasn't um, there wasn't like a sort of a duality in
mm,
those performances. They were exactly the same. It was the context with which they were acting was different.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm an actor or I'm the sort of character in the play.
Yeah. And I think for me, I would have preferred if they were going for that play esque type where it was very emotionless. I feel like Equilibrium did it a lot better with their actors when they were on the drug because they were very monotone there, but you could still see a lot of the shit they were trying to like portray with their words. Whereas this, it was just very just one note, and it felt flat the whole fucking time.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
constantly emotionless.
yeah, Yeah.
Delivery was emotionless. I like that shot of Scarlett Johansson. Yeah, I get down. She'll
But
always be my baby.
Got the beef out there.
leave it to Beaver. Props to ScarJo though. I feel like she acted the same she does in every other movie.
That's tough.
I think
Fuck.
honestly, if she did less Marvel fare like she's doing now, she would be like a really like she started off a really like sort of great actor.
Yeah. Did you guys want to get into the theories?
Hmm.
Because you've
Yeah.
got a theory, Triz. I know you got a theory.
Hmm.
And I got a theory of what the movie's about. So maybe we can get into some spoilers
Hmm.
just quickly. Just run it
Yeah.
down, pause.
So my theory for the film about what this movie is about is processing grief.
Yeah.
And I take that from Jason Schwartzman's character and Edward Norton's character when they kiss in that scene. And then later on, Edward Norton passes away with the car collision, and it comes up to the end scene, and it's almost like Jason Schwartzman's character is trying to get closure with the play character losing his wife and how to sort of get over that emotion. So that's what I
Hmm.
thought the whole thing about this was.
So the art imitating life, or life imitating art, or yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just overall study on grief and the different stages of grief. You can see that from the start. He's in that denial stage already, right? Denial stage that something didn't happen, and that's why he wouldn't tell his kids, and he waited 3 weeks to tell his kids that their mother had died, which is wild to me. Um, what's his face? Also, towards the end, you can see him accepting. So he's accepting the grief and he's actually processing it. This is the first movie that I've seen where we actually had a character portray like the actual character of grief
Yeah.
in Adrian Brody. Um, yeah, and him like not portraying him like he's down and he's solemn and all that sort of stuff, but actually being upbeat and sort of happy and
Yeah.
because grief doesn't know what he's causing. He's just grief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He sticks around.
Yeah.
Just
He's there the whole time.
yeah. Now that you say it, Adrian Brody really played it like that guy plays Death in that episode of The Twilight Zone. He's almost just like a businessman. Like he's just there to do his job.
Mm.
Yeah. I
It's a
think that
transaction.
Yeah.
portrayal was almost like grief is a natural part
Yeah,
of life.
yeah,
Yeah. And it was good to see Adrian Brody. Fuck that old, like, he can look haggard and old sometimes.
yeah.
Like in Houdini, he looked really, really old. But in this, I was like, this motherfucker just stepped foot off King Kong. You know what I mean?
He's in shape. He's
Yeah.
Yeah. Thought Mans was going to do Predators again.
not voice shape, but still in shape.
Yeah.
Very good.
He is tall, yeah? Like mad
yeah.
tall.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. He's a lank
Like
dog for
six
sure.
6'2". He's probably he's not gold. He's not gold. What's his name? Goldblum tall, but he's tall.
Yeah. Look,
Shit.
tall drink of water.
Find out who threw me out of a fucking plane. All right,
I know.
just
Easy, Rory.
tone
All right?
it down. We don't need all of that, mate.
So for me, I thought this movie was about the creative act and how it isn't necessarily the person that is creating that has to be the character on screen. It didn't have to be a person who had a wife. That's why Edward Norton and Jason Schwartzman's characters were gay, right? Straight relationship. And the effort required to actually put on a play and do it just, but it was the direction where they're kind of figuring out. He's like, I want to do the scene. I'm trying to figure it out, and they kind of say, uh, it's like you won't wake up from it because you're in it or something like that. And they keep
You can't
chanting,
wake up if you don't sleep.
yeah, you can't wake up if you don't sleep. And it's like the commitment needed is the requirement to like fool people.
Mm.
Just like the government in the movie fools them and basically quarantines them and like says you can't leave and it wasn't an alien. But then the story gets out, you know what I mean? And I almost feel like it was anti quarantine measures from COVID.
100%.
I kind of got that feeling like this is Wes Anderson's interpretation, his version of the events of the
Yeah.
pandemic.
It's his feelings on the pandemic and what
Yeah.
was done to people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the government's response to the pandemic,
Yeah. Yeah.
and also the people pulling together
Mm.
and holding strong even amid the quarantine. I mean, I could be very, very fucking wrong, and I don't mind, but like to me, it just that's what sang out after like a week of reflection. Really,
No, like it makes a lot of sense too, considering like if you notice the 3D-esque nature of when they're in the play with all the colors, and then it's almost very 2D when they're outside, and it's also black and white. So portraying the different emotions with that and how they sort of process that as well with like quarantine law and how like pre-COVID it was very like everyone was in an office 5 days a week, and then it changed after that too.
yeah. It's just, it feels like there's so many layers to the movie, and even just from the mechanics of making a play or a movie or whatever, right? Like the biggest starlet in the movie is Margot Robbie,
Mm.
but they cut her character out of the play because it just didn't make sense at the end, and like that's how it sort of is in Hollywood sometimes, or these big films that get made, and a big part of let's say fucking Thin Red Line was completely changed so that Jim Caviezel was the main guy, but he wasn't.
Even though Malik shot Sean Penn as the star,
Yeah,
and just cut around the man.
it was wild. And it's like this is the shit that you need to do as a director, and it's like the hard choices.
What was I going to say? Her portrayal of the starlet and all that sort of stuff is all the glitz and glamour of Hollywood and all that sort of stuff. You can see the contrast between the creator, who is Edward Norton, and her, right? So Edward Norton wasn't in flash suits and all that sort of stuff. He was basically living in a shack when you see his house. Yeah, it's a different contrast.
Yeah, but that's what I mean about the substance was there, but it just didn't gel.
Mm.
The style was there, but it didn't hook me into the movie. It didn't move along. It kind of felt like really plodding, and he was trying to say something.
Mm.
Like top marks though, but I wouldn't recommend it to anyone, to be honest.
I think it's a very very niche film, and I think it would be hard to market it to a general like populace of people to watch. Like this isn't something that you would be like, hey babe, let's go watch Asteroid City.
Yeah.
I thought this shit is coming. I thought this shit was coming out on streaming, and they were just doing a theatrical run first, and then it was going to launch on Netflix. I thought this was a Netflix movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
I didn't see no Netflix at the start though, so I'd like.
Nah. I think they did drop this day and date on Peacock though, because it was on PVOD.
Yeah. Look, I think this is a very artsy type film, and this is up for people to have this discussion that we're having now, where it's all up to interpretation. So I wouldn't say this is an everyday film where like this isn't a Mission Impossible. This is more like what's that movie with ScarJo that she did after all the Marvel shit? It's not Jennifer's Body, but it was something like that.
Under the Skin.
Yeah, where it's more like niche,
Hmm.
artsy type shit to actually watch.
Mm.
Yeah, still got to watch that movie. They said it was one of. They said it was the best movie of the decade or some shit.
Get out.
I beg to differ.